So you regret using that word?
Yes.
All right, joining us now is our friend, Florida Congressman Byron Donalds is with us. I get apoplectic over this. I cannot believe this is where this guy's head is at. We've had nearly 10 million illegal, unvetted, Joe Biden illegal immigrants that he's allowed into this country from some of our top geopolitical foes, Iran, Syria, China, Russia, Egypt, Afghanistan. And, of course, never mind the cartels, the drug smuggling, the human trafficking, and everything else associated with this. He's allowed it. He's aided and abetted in this. And he cares more about the word, not saying the word illegal, than he does about correcting the name of the victim here. Cares more about the murder suspect than the victim. Please explain this to me, Congressman, because I have no understanding of it.
Sean, I don't have an explanation for this. This is the same Joe Biden who always brings up Beau Biden anytime that somebody has a tragedy, frankly, on his watch. And he tries to have some faux sympathy, which really isn't for the families. It's a faux sympathy for him. The same Joe Biden who has watched our border be eviscerated, has watched our cities be overrun, has watched cops be beat up in the street, has seen American citizens be killed by illegal immigrants, but he doesn't reverse course. Listen, the biggest way to show that you are sorry about something is to change your tactics, to change your actions. He's not going to change, which is why he's got to be removed, Sean, because this man cannot be trusted with the presidency. He is proven to be a failure. And what's going on with Laken Riley's parents, the fact that they found it to be offensive is the correct response. And the fact that they chose to be with Donald Trump as opposed to Joe Biden speaks volumes as to what is happening in our country. This man needs to be defeated. The family should be upset. And it's not just the family of Laken Riley. It's the family of so many Americans who've lost loved ones, either directly because of illegal immigrants in the United States or because of massive fentanyl overdoses, because Joe Biden has allowed the drug cartels to make billions and billions of dollars because he would rather appease the radical left and be a radical himself than do what's right on behalf of the American people.
I really can't say it any better, and I really am trying to understand this. How is it possible? I always thought when a president takes an oath to support our Constitution, you're a lawmaker, you're a congressman. Correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't every law based on that document fundamentally? Isn't that the foundation of every law in this country?
It is, Sean, but when you have a party and you also have a president who do not care about the rule of law, to quote Barack Obama, they think more about using a pen and a phone than actually having to pass laws. And then they like to project what they're doing on everybody else. If you truly care about democracy, if you truly care about the rule of law, then you cannot support Joe Biden and you cannot support these radical Democrats. Because, look, if you talk to a Democrat member of Congress who's reasonable, away from the cameras and away from their party, they agree with you and I about all the tragedies that are happening. But this radical left, the same radical left that supports Hamas over Israel, these radicals are the ones who are running the Democrat Party. And as long as they're in charge of the Democrat Party, you can't compromise with them. You have to defeat them.
I don't think I could say it any better than the way you have said it, but it's on every single issue. Congressman, we have an election in 238 days. I'm not particularly worried about your race. You've become a real star in the Republican Party. I've gotten to know you personally. I even have interviewed your wife on this program. I think you married way up, as a side note. But there only seems to be a small group, even among House Republicans, that are willing to fight. You're among that group. And I'm having a hard time understanding some of your colleagues, because if Republicans don't unite on this one issue, where they have enough leverage, if they'd all unite together, they could actually get the border secure. They really could. And I'm having a hard time understanding why they don't do that.
Well, look, I'll be real blunt with you, Sean. We have a lot of members who are more concerned about having a majority than actually using the majority to accomplish the agenda. The concerns up here on Capitol Hill are that if you truly fight for the border, that we could end up losing seats and you don't have a majority in the future. And I just disagree with that. I think if you look at what's happening with our southern border and also what's happening in our cities because of our southern border, this is the issue that has united Americans. And the party that actually stands truly about leading to fix that border is the party that's going to be rewarded. The conversations I've had with many of my colleagues has been, but we always get blamed. But the media is not on our side. But, Sean, guess what? The media is never going to be on our side. And guess what? The media is always going to blame us no matter what we do. You might as well stand on principle and actually lead as opposed to trying to work with a Democrat Party that does not want to fix the border. The modern Democrat Party has wanted open borders for 30 years, and now they have it. And look what's happened to the country.
Let me play Donald Trump talking about meeting before a rally this weekend with Laken Riley's family. Listen to this.
But one of the lives that was taken from us was a incredible 22-year-old nursing student right here in Georgia, Laken Riley. Right? Look at the signs. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. From the time she was in the first grade, Laken's dream was to spend her life caring for others. And I met her beautiful mother and family backstage, sister, friends, some of her friends, a roommate. They said she was like the best. She was always the best. They admit that she was the best. And she was the first in her class. She was going to be the best nurse. She was the best nursing student. She was always the best. She was the brightest light in every room, they told me. And she was the whole world to her parents and to her sister, just to the whole family. Incredible. Then the unthinkable happened.
You know, Congressman, I don't know. You try to put yourself in people's place. And as a parent, I think about this. And I could tell you straight up, you want to break me, destroy me, hurt my kids. How does this family ever recover? How do our friends recover? How do our relatives recover? I don't think they can. I don't think they ever will be this. They'll never obviously be the same again. How do you ever recover from something like that?
I think the personal tragedy, the only thing that helps you is obviously staying united as a family unit and then trusting God. That's how you are able to continue. I think the pain and the tragedy, that's never going to go away. That's always going to be a part. Sean, look, let me also say this. If Donald Trump was president and this had occurred, the media would have that family on the news speaking wire to wire nonstop. The fact that the big media doesn't interview her mother, doesn't interview her father, demonstrates how in the tank the media is. And it's really disgusting because it's not shining a light on the number one issue facing our country. These kind of tragedies can be avoided. Listen, you can't protect everybody in life all the time. We know this. Tragedies do occur. We know this. But then there's also things that are just preventable. And what happened to Laken Riley was preventable. What's happened to so many families is preventable. And this president does not care. He's already moved on to trying to cover up and not call the illegal alien, calling the person a migrant or whatever the case might be. It's really disgusting. But for that family, at the end of the day, it's being united as families what's going to help you get past the pain and the grief and potentially try to find a way to continue to live life.
Yeah, maybe he'll take time like he did with East Palestine after the train derailment, and maybe he'll show up a year later as if that's going to matter. This is the sad thing. Now, I mentioned the countries that really scare me the most where they're crossing our southern border. Why are people from China, Russia, Iran, Syria, Egypt, Afghanistan, why are they showing up there, Congressman? And why do I believe with 100% certainty that I am right, that among the nearly 10 million Joe Biden unvetted illegal immigrants are terror cells that are in our country that are plotting, planning, and scheming a 9/11, an October 7th, or worse in this country. And it's not a matter of if, it's when. I pray to God I'm wrong, Congressman. I'd never want to be more wrong than on this topic, but I don't think. Don't.
Look, Sean, I want you to be wrong as well. I really, really do. And so this is why I think even by polling now you're starting to see where the American people are supporting deportations. We have to send a lot of these people home. They just simply cannot stay. First, we just don't have room for them. That's number one. But number two, if the intelligence community is flagging some of these people that have come into our country, they got to be the first to go. Send them back to their countries. If they have a country that doesn't want to take them, like we're being told Venezuela doesn't want to take a lot of these people back, that's not my concern, Venezuela. You got to take them back. We'll drop them off on the beach, and you deal with it. But that's what we're going to have to do, and we're going to have to get serious as a nation.
Well, Joe's too busy, made Iran rich again, and turned a blind eye to them selling oil on the world market in spite of obviously sanctions we have in place, and had no problem approving the $10 billion from Iraq to be paid, and wanted to give $6 billion for hostages.
It's crazy, Sean. This is progressive policy at its worst. Look at what they've done. You've already said it, but what they've done in the Middle East, what they've done basically in Eastern Europe. This is when you're weak, and this is when you try to cut deals with your adversaries. These other countries, these other leaders, they do not care about Joe Biden. They do not care about the American people. What they care about is advancing their agenda. And now they're doing it to the detriment of our national interests and the interests of our allies. You cannot continue this. And so I gave a speech and I said, listen, who puts this in harm's way are the men and women in uniform. You know, like you have the dad of one of our soldiers that was killed at Abbey Gate in Afghanistan during that disastrous withdrawal, and they arrested him for disturbing the president. Meanwhile, you have the crazy code pink protesters slowing down presidential motorcades in the streets of Washington, D.C., and they're allowed to just disrupt with impunity. When when that is your worldview, that it is okay to quote unquote just beat back our allies, but you want to do everything and bend over backward for our enemies, you are going to have decline on the world stage. That's where Joe Biden has led us.
Congressman Byron Donalds of Florida, friend of the program. Thank you, sir. A voice of reason.